my Dorks, Nerds, Geeks, and Gamers. It's your host, Ghost here, and you're watching a brand new episode of Dorks Movie Minute. Today we're going to continue on with our coverage of the streaming service shows and everything else that we cover here on Dorks Movie Minute, including movies and TV shows. Today we're going to take a look at Halo, the TV series that is premiering on Paramount Plus, streaming now. So if you guys are Microsoft fans or Halo fans or Paramount Plus fans, then go check it out there. So we're going to hop right into episode 1 and 2, and that's what we're going to discuss today. And then we're going to give our final scores on these two episodes, and then we're going to see if we can recommend the series moving forward here. So starting with episode 1, this is Halo episode 1, entitled Contact, which is a great name for episode 1 because we finally get to see Master Chief in live action. We get to see the Covenant, and we get to see everything else going down. So let's hop right in so we can see. So here we go. We start off at a human survivor camp, which is something I was not expecting, but I kind of should have, knowing that this is a TV show. They're focusing more on the human aspect of the Halo world, and a little bit less on the Spartans and Master Chief and the UNSC and everything that they're doing. So we get to see a little bit more of the civilian life here on planet Madrigal. So then we get to see Quan, who is this new female character. Her and her friends are all hanging out. They're kind of, walking around, having a good time as they search the planet for whatever they're looking for. Her friends end up getting killed by the Covenant. The Covenant comes down and they come in blasting. This is the one thing I did like about the series the most, is the blood and the gore, and it felt like Halo in that sense. They literally are just shooting people, and people are exploding, blood and guts going everywhere, arms, legs, everything else. It's as gory as you would want it to be for a Halo series, so I'm glad they did go that route. The other thing is, the Covenant, they only show the elite soldiers. I didn't see any grunts, I didn't see any of the side soldiers or all this. There's tons of different soldiers in the Covenant, but all they keep showing is the elites, so I don't know if they ever played the game or if they know there's more soldiers than just the elites, but all we get in this show is the elites so far. But yeah, they kill all her friends and she runs for her life. She leads the Covenant to the base, and they basically go to the base, and the Covenant kills everybody at the base. Literally everybody. There's no quims. They're just scanning. Are they special? Are they not? And if they're not special, they die. So they're just killing everybody. We get Master Chief dropping in and his squad of the other Spartans. So that was very cool to see. And of course, they're doing work. They're blasting Covenant monsters. They're blowing people apart. Master Chief actually works in this moment with his helmet on. The suit looks great. The explosions, everything else looks really, really well in this moment. At that point, he saves Quan. That's when he finds the artifact on a cave wall. He ends up touching it, and it sends him back to his past, and he starts to have memories of this artifact for whatever reason. We'll get to that later on in the series. That's a big part of the series mystery and what's going on and everything else. We get back to the government facility. We get the office drama between the boss who wants to turn up against the scientist. The scientist wants to go against. It's all office drama, office politics. And I don't think it fits in the show at all. I get why they wanted to show it. They wanted to show a little bit of the UNSC, how they work and how they function, and how there's always someone trying to stab each other in the back, even there. But I don't think it fits in the show. I mean, I think we should be focusing on Master Chief, or if you want to focus on Quan, that's fine. Focus on Quan, but don't focus on this political drama of you're just making the good guys look more muddled, and you're making it even harder for the viewers to tell who the good guy and the bad guy is. Because at this point, I would be rooting for the Covenant, and we know for a fact that the Covenant are 100% bad people. But that's just me, so that's why I think the show is going in the wrong direction with this, the way they're telling the story. Basically, the UNSC tell Master Chief to kill Quan. Master Chief refuses to kill Quan. Something in him tells him he should not do this, and he doesn't know why they want her dead, just because she knows about this artifact or for whatever reason. So he refuses to do it. He then uses, they then end up trying to kill him for refusing by turning the oxygen off on his ship, and hopefully knocking him out and killing Quan in the process. But of course Master Chief fights it, and he gets to the artifact, and he touches it, and it sends out an EMP, which restarts the ship's oxygen supply and everything else so he can take control. And that's when he basically grabs the artifact, and he takes Quan, and he says, okay, I'm going to need to get you to a safe place. Luckily I know a guy and another Spartan named 066. Who's a friend of his, who we'll see in the next episode here, plays a bigger story in this overarching storyline that's going on with Quan and the USNC and this artifact. So yeah, that's where episode 1 ends. A lot happens, but really not a lot does not happen at all. We do get a cool introduction to Master Chief. We do get a cool introduction to Quan and the Covenant. The one problem I have is even in episode 1, they have to take Master Chief's helmet off at the very end. When we do get to see his face, he's just a normal guy. But I don't like it. Why take off the helmet? Master Chief in the video games never took off his helmet once. Not once. And those games take place over months and months and months and months and months of time, if not years of time, where Master Chief never took off his helmet. So for them to do it in the first episode, I knew right away that this is going to be a problem. And then we do eventually get to the point where he's not wearing his helmet at all. By episode 3 and 4, he's not wearing it at all, and you'll see it in the background and stuff like that. It drives you nuts. So that's something I was really worried about going into this show, and I knew that as soon as I saw in episode 1 that it would become a huge problem for later on down the line. So yeah, I'm going to give this episode 1 a 7 out of 10. It was pretty decent, but it doesn't get any better than that for episode 2. I'm telling you, it goes downhill from here. So starting off with now moving on to episode 2, entitled Unbound. We continue off with a flashback of 066 leaving the team and to start a new life. Chief basically gave him 5 minutes to leave, which is his grace to tell him that he's not going to tell them where he's leaving to, and that he should leave now if he wants to have a peaceful life on his own. And he does, so Master Chief grants him that. So Master Chief shows up with Quan back on this rubble, on this, it's actually an asteroid that they're living on. He basically meets with Soren, or 066, I call him. They seem to basically get along, and Soren tells him about his life, and his wife, and his family, and everything else, how he's living peacefully away from the UNSC. And eventually he agrees to take in Quan and watch Quan for Master Chief while he does his own thing, because he hears about the USNC wanting to kill Quan for whatever reason. Even if it's justified or not, he doesn't feel like it's the right thing to do. So yeah, and then eventually Soren tells Master Chief about the artifact and that this prisoner may know about it, this crazy guy who's in this prison. They go visit him. And of course he has this big breakdown. He's a crazy nuts. He's seen it before. He's the chosen one. He basically explains to Master Chief that he has some sort of Covenant DNA inside him, which can then activate this artifact for whatever reason. So there's that. Which then leads to Chief leaving Quan on the rubble with 066 and saying that he needs to go back to the UNSC to figure out what this artifact is and to figure out where to go from here. But he doesn't want to bring Quan back because he's afraid that they'll try to kill her as well. So this episode I'm going to give a 5 out of 10. It's a lot worse than the other one. It's a lot more filler. And once again, we have Master Chief taking his helmet off for the whole episode. Doesn't wear it at all. And it feels very, very weird, very strange for that character to be there without his helmet on at all. So yeah, not a good start to the series, not a great start. It is entertaining in the action scenes. That's the only thing I will give it, is the action scenes are really good, and it does feel like Halo when it's going through the action scenes. But the main issue is there's barely any action scenes. We're focusing on the office drama. We're focusing on this side character that no one cares about, Quan. We're focusing on these other side characters. It's like, can we please just get the series to focus on Master Chief and the Covenant, and then we'd have a great series on our hands. But yeah, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to muddy the waters between the UNSC and the Covenant. They're trying to make it more political drama sort of feeling. It just doesn't work. At least in my opinion, it doesn't work for me as a Halo fan, as a gamer watching this show. So let me know down below what you guys think of Halo Episode 1 and 2. Are you guys enjoying it or not? What are some of the things you think they could improve for the series to draw you back into it, make you want to watch it? Let me know down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, or share, guys. And as always, keep it right here on Dorks Den. I've been your host, Ghost. Adios.